we rise to the top. Can't stop this flow. In the heart of the jungle, we're ready, let's go. In the heart of the jungle, we're ready, let's go.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Roundtable here with Ben. What's going on, man?
Not much, bro. What's up with you?
Oh, we were just talking about stuff, and I stopped you mid-sentence because I feel like it was a pretty good conversation on growth as a parent.
Yep.
If I were to put a label on this today, it was growth as a parent. We were talking about, just give you guys a little background. We were talking about, I don't have the greatest relationship with my parents. Some of that's my fault. Some of that's their fault. At the end of the day, we each have to take blame for ourselves, and that's all it really is. And, we're slowly working on repairing things. I mean, some of you may or may not know, I have tattoos. When I got my first one, my mom said they were disgusting. And I'm like, well, that's your opinion. And now she's more, I started an arm sleeve, and she was more curious about it and talking about it and, more open to having that conversation with me about it. And, we had conversation about why I was in therapy because they came up for my daughter's birthday. And it was a little uncomfortable, but at the same point, I can't blame everything on her. And you were starting to go into a pretty good segment that I'm like, let's record this because it's pretty accurate. We were talking about as kids, we view it one way, and now as parents, we're like, shit, maybe they weren't as bad as we thought.
Yeah, a lot of times that's really what it comes down to, man. I think just looking at our experiences as, looking internally for myself, right? Me as a parent, I know that some of the things that I've probably done or will do are from my place are coming from a loving place, but my daughter might see it a totally different way because you interpret things differently as a kid. You also don't have the mental capacity to understand everything that, is happening at the time. And I don't know if I heard this. Actually, we had some meetings with some of our high-level mentors or high performers, and I'm trying to remember if I heard it there, if I heard it somewhere else, but they were like, sometimes we blame our parents for so much, and then you put them on a pedestal, and that's great in a form, so that's some, in some way. But then you also got to think, man, they're just human. They when we were 8, 9, our parents, I don't know how old your parents were, but I would say, my parents were probably in their mid-30s.
Yeah, somewhere
40s,
around there.
something like that. I'm mid-30s now, and I don't have my life together. I don't know everything. But at that age, you look at your parents like, oh, they know everything. They're you would assume that they know what they're doing. Bro, at 35, I just turned 35. I don't got everything figured out.
No.
At all.
well, and you also have to think, and this is something that, it cracks me up when you hear some of the older generation, blame. They're like, oh, the younger generation's ruining everything, da-da-da-da-da. They go off, and I'm like, well, first of all, you're the one that raised them.
Yep,
right?
100%.
But times are changing. Think about when me and you were 8 or 9, we had maybe a PlayStation if we were lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't have phones. We didn't have tablets. We didn't have 700 freaking channels we could watch it on a whim. We were still using VHS tapes. Times have changed.
Right.
And so as a parent, at least personally, for my experience, I have to work with the evolving changes, which is what they were doing too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, of course, I at this very moment as a child and as an adult, I'm still making a decision that I feel is best. But again, somewhere along the line, somebody's going to think I'm wrong, and that's okay. But as long as we're growing in the process and learning, that's where the real growth comes out of, the real truth of it all comes out of.
Well, I think also too is as a adult, as a person that is caring for somebody else, and we've hit on this before too, is you have to take your selfishness out of the picture, right? Now you start doing things that would just be for you. You do it for essentially for somebody else, right? And to me, I heard the phrase you could be a dad or you could be a father, and there's a difference between the two. And I can't tell you which is which now that I'm playing it through my head, but they say that yeah, you could just be there, and you could be a person that they see, or you could be a model that they're actually trying to look at you and wow, he does this and that. And that's why even, gosh, it might be last year, the year before that, when we were going on our walks during the summer, And I was telling you guys, you guys are doing such a good job with, the example you set for your kids. And we talked about this, like, no shot to my parents. I mean, they weren't on the journey I'm on, but
times are different. Times are different.
They were focused on providing for us, like, and not saying I'm not, but the opportunities are a lot different. The dynamics of a family are a lot different than they were a generation ago. My mom didn't work. She didn't have to work, not from what I know of, but we were also poor, so who knows? Maybe if she worked, maybe it would have, I don't know. But she ended up getting a job after my father passed away. But that dynamic was a different dynamic. And
mindsets are a lot different now too. I mean,
it's an informational age.
Yeah.
We can get anything we want on this. We pull it up and we're like, I want to learn how to do a diet on X diet. Boom. I want to learn how to do this workout. Boom. They couldn't really do that. It was more, you had to know somebody. Like, oh, I know Bob down the street. Oh, yeah, go talk to Bob. And that's why most of them are great communicators. You got the Garys, all these. They really are great communicators because that's what they had to do. Yeah. And a lot of our generation, to be honest, aren't great communicators because we're stuck on this.
Yeah.
So I agree. There's a difference, and you have to evolve your parenting to whatever dynamics are going on in that time.
Well, think about it. Back in, we'll say the like 60s, 70s, 80s, when our parents were growing up, 90s, when our parents were going into the workforce, going into this, going into that, it wasn't very popular to run a business. Not many people even wanted to. I mean, out of my family, I think I only have one like entrepreneur person in it that I can think of. And I don't know how, and now I want to, but I don't know that I'll ever get the chance. But I want to sit down with them now and be like, what led you to start doing scrap metal? What led you to start running a junkyard, growing this, growing that? But for the most part, when they were growing up, it was a lot of that 9-to-5 mentality. You go to work, you work hard for your family, you get a paycheck, you come home. It wasn't, what can I do to be the best? It was, this is what I was told to do, which is a lot of what they tell us to do still too. I mean, go to college, get a degree, work your 30 plus years, retire, live an okay life. That's not what we want. I mean, I've
it's not even possible anymore.
No. I mean, I've dreamt of lavish cars and mansions, stuff like that my whole life. I mean, it's just like I sent you something the other day. Like, that's the kind of shit that I look at all the time. And now it's the time to start growing that. Start working to make my money work for me versus me work for my money.
Right.
I mean, it's time to really, it's been time. We've been working on it. Now it's time to really push that ball, get that snowball a lot bigger in the process.
Yeah, no, I agree. What, going back to the dynamic of life and the way that the family is now, like you said, the entrepreneur is popular now, right? Most people want that flexibility. And honestly, I think that is one of the good things that came out of COVID was people figured out that, wait, I can be home with my family. I can learn to make money because most people, not everybody, but a lot of people were looking for gigs, and some of them were because of necessity, and some of them were because, well, I'm just bored. I'm going to find something to do. And they found an avenue like, whoa, I can do this and I can actually make some money on the side. Can I do this full time? And now the generation is becoming where, they want to be influencers. They want to do all this, the media's here, the like stuff that we're doing. That generation is here now where they figured out, well, look, we can invest in ourselves and we can make some money for ourselves. Where before they were sold a different bill of goods, right? They could actually go to school and we're not saying we can't, but they would go to school, get a good job. They would get an education, and then, like you said, retire after so many times and be taken care of. That no longer is possible for us. Like our generation, we cannot do that. Look at our parents. Look at my mother, the Gary, all our parents, they're all working. And I don't see a future where they're going to be able to simply just walk away. Maybe they will probably be the last generation they can do that. But I don't want to work till I'm 70. I don't want to. I love being around my family. And I say work in the sense of I have to go clock in 9 to 5.
I was going to say, there is a difference. I will work until the day I die, but I want to be doing what I want to fully do.
And be able to keep up with inflation. keep up
Yes.
with a lifestyle that you want.
Yeah.
You know, with the 9 to 5, you're in a realm. I'm sorry, that's just the honest truth. Unless you're going to go for a CEO job, which to
You're
me,
still.
I love my family. That's just me.
Yeah.
I want to be around them. I don't want to have to. I want to live with them, not just to create a lifestyle for them. I want to have that lifestyle with them. Meaning,
Yeah.
I want to be involved. If I am making, $10 million a year, I don't want them just to enjoy it. I want to be there right next to them. I don't want to be in an office being like, oh, where's your family? Oh, they're out in Italy, whatever. And why are you here? Well, I gotta, I gotta be here. I want to create a business where
No,
I can have people. You built the corporation that can manage that, and then you go build another one, and you go do it again, and you do those things. But back to the basics is like our parents didn't know. They didn't grow up knowing like, hey, teach your kids to be entrepreneurs, to want more. They always wanted more, I would think, for us. But
100%.
But they can't show you something they don't know.
Yep.
They really can't. They couldn't show me how to work out because they didn't work out. They couldn't show me how to be entrepreneurs because they weren't entrepreneurs. They couldn't show me how to do certain things. They just had never done it, which is why I think school was so important for my mom, because she'd never done it. So she was like, go to school, because that's what you hear. That's what she heard. Like people that go to school, they become doctors. Don't get me wrong, those people make a ton of money, but I don't know. It's a different age. And I think sometimes as adults and people that have kids, we just have to remember, like, we're going to mess up. We're going to make mistakes. And our kids are going to look at us and, there was a period where I hated my parents. I was like, fuck, man, I hate them, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
But you kind of grow out of it. You get into the, 20s and you're like, damn, they actually did a lot for me.
Well, and then then you sit back and you look. I mean, this is great because it's the holidays. It's about family and everything. You sit back and you look and you're like, damn, like you said, they did a lot for me. And then as you're a parent, you're like, hell, they really didn't know what they were doing. Just like and now, and I look back even at situations from a year ago, 2 years ago, I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. There's even times now that I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Am I doing right by, I mean, the wife and I have had this conversation pretty much all week, with our daughter's birthday last week and everything. We're like, man, she's spoiled with everything we're getting. And we're like, she's spoiled. And is it too much? Is it, where do you draw the line? But you will never know. You'll never know.
Mm-mm.
Because you have some of the people that have everything and they can be the shittiest people. You'll have people that have absolutely nothing and be the shittiest people.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have people that have everything that turn around and make their everything even more, and vice versa, that have nothing and they turn around and just cause more problems to society. It doesn't matter what it is. It matters what you want to do.
Right. Yeah, I think it's the standards that you instill in your kids, right?
At the end of the day.
Because if they see mom and dad or a certain person, that's who they're going to want to be like, right? So if you have an attitude of, like you said, ungratefulness or just things along those lines, then yeah, like they would inherit those traits or those standards to say, well, they turn into the spoiled brats where they don't appreciate certain things. But I don't necessarily think that because you gave your kid, I say everything, but the things that they want necessarily makes them spoiled. It just, as long as you treat, they understand the difference between being grateful for, having the ability to have those things. Because as parents, we want more for them. We want
which
them
is
to
something
have the things we didn't have.
Which is something we try to instill a lot. Look, you have to remember, there's kids that have nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They're not sure they're going to eat tonight. They're not having Christmas. They
Yeah.
don't have this. They don't have that. Like,
And we talked about, and I told you my dream for next year, not even my dream, but the corporation we're going to build for next year. We just incorporated that to Gamry. So we told Gamry. And so that's my method of showing.
I'd love to get involved, by the way.
I'd love for you guys to do it with me. That's something that I can have her with me. So it's not just I go do it. It's I have my wife, I have my friend, I have his kids, my kid, and we go do this, and they see how truly grateful you should be for, gosh, you even get 1-2 presents in a year. I don't know, or just having somebody show up for you. That to me is being the example, because you could tell kids all the time, like, be grateful. You don't understand that.
But they don't see it.
They don't, and I'm glad they don't understand it. I pray to God, Yoda, whatever anybody believes in, like that there will never be a day where my daughter understands the amount of how much pain is out there and how much, stuff is lacking. People are lacking so many different things. I hope that she never experiences that. But that's what we want, especially as fathers. We're like,
Yeah.
God, I don't want you to ever feel what I have felt. I don't ever want you to. And we know they're going to feel their own trials and tribulations, but
We want to be set up to a position to help them no matter what. And at least the way I'm
100%.
understanding and the way I feel,
100%.
whether that means, one day I'm worth the millions I want to be worth, and I'm going to be worth, and they need a place to stay at. There will always be room.
right.
And that's something that as a father, especially of two little girls, they will always have that room. And there's friends, if something were to happen, I will make room. I can't promise I'm going to be able to do it for long term, but for short term, I'll figure something out.
Right.
We'll figure something out. And I want to have that ability to take care of people when needed.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's yeah, we as adults, just nobody's got it figured out. And if ever anybody does, I think people have got avenues figured out, especially when it comes to like businesses and stuff like that, because those things, but life is just, it's a variable. Like
Yeah.
Nobody knows how your mind processes things, how, what things you need to grow on, whether it be emotionally or mentally. And then, you look at your kids and you're like, damn, I probably did something that is going to fuck them up for a long time, to be honest. And I think that all the time. I'm like, damn, I can't wait. I can't wait till she gets older and she tells me some of these things. And I'm like, damn. And it's going to feel bad. But at the same time, like, I hope that a lot of the growth through it, she'd be like, I remember this and it really like affected me. But also there's this whole path of stuff that you've done and you showed me that kind of, helped me understand and helped me, realize that was a small part of, she even brings up the day that the big argument happened when I essentially was out belligerent and got drunk and lost and all this type of stuff. And Taylor was scared and all this. And then Gary came looking for me, whatever, and found me.
That was early in the relationship.
Yeah, it was super early. And Gamry was there. Gamry wasn't, because that's the other fucked up part. You think about it.
Yeah.
My girlfriend's taking care of my kid.
Yep.
I show up, and obviously there's an argument ensues, and Gamry was there, and she remembers that, and she brings it up. She's like, "Daddy, I remember that," and I'm like, and it broke my heart. It really did. I was like, "Damn," because that's a core memory for her. That's what she remembers: the fear, the feelings of two adults arguing, her dad not being the happy guy that's he's just out of his mind type of deal, and I'm like, damn, like that's stuck with her, and I hope that she can look later and be like, wow, like I remember that, and I remember seeing my dad once like this, and I never saw him like that ever again, and it's just we I don't know, man. We just need to forgive our parents, because I was thinking about that, and I think about it all the time. Like, damn, dude, like I'm 35, dude, and I know my parents were in that age, and I thought that they knew everything. And I'm telling you, I don't know shit.
Nope.
I don't know what I'm doing. There's no book. We try as parents to communicate with each other and help each other out, but then there's also a boundary there where you don't want to overstep and be like, hey, you should do that. Like, that's your kid. You raise them how you want.
The only thing that I can tell you that I know is that I'm going to do everything I can to learn from my failures and not quit on my kids.
Yeah, that's good.
It's about the only things I can tell you that I know 100%, because everything else is so unknown. I mean, even gym workouts, down to food. At the end of the day, you don't really know. You could be, we'll go back to the gym. You can have 5 people tell you how to do a deadlift. And at the core of it, there's the 5 things will add up to 1, right? At the core of it. But one might tell you need to lean a little back, whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, not everybody's going to know everything. You need to take all the information you can. You need to learn and grow and make it the best for you and your situation, your family situation, whatever that might be.
I agree. And that, we've talked about that a million times. Is anything that we ever say, anything that you ever hear, the dynamic is your schedule and the way that you plan all that and you attack that should be adapted to your lifestyle, to how you want your family dynamic to be, right? If your family dynamic is, hey, my wife's more of the asserter, she kind of takes that case. I'm kind of more of the I come in comfort. I don't know. There's all these different variables that can happen. People just need to. People think that because we say something or they hear something, I should be this person. You know, don't get carried away. Choose your lane. Figure it out how. Because you're gonna hear 100 different opinions of how to do something. People, even sometimes your own parents will tell you, "Hey, you should." And I'm like, well, shit. I mean, I remember some of the things you did. And, don't tell me that. So. There's a thin line of taking opinion and really formulating it and fixing it to however you feel like it's appropriate for you and your family. But I think people get so bent out of shape because they hear something, they're like, "Oh, I can't do that." Well, you don't have to. You could take different models. There's a foundation.
Yeah.
Take your deadlift.
Like I said, at the core, there's a foundation for everything, just like the house. Just like a house, there's the foundation of the house that everything's built off of.
Yep.
And you have to build up from there. You can't start from the top down.
Nope.
And I mean, anything in life, hell, this table had to be built. Yeah, I could build the top, but at the end of the day, the top's useless without a really solid foundation.
Yep.
And that's what we're trying. Solid. Yeah. Well, I mean, could have done aluminum. No, I'm just kidding. That's what we're trying to instill in our kids, and that's what we have to look back with our parents, is that they gave us the foundation to grow off of.
Yep.
And as a parent now, looking when my kids have kids, that's what I need to remember too, is that I gave them a foundation, but they need to build their own.
Yeah.
Which I can't say it any better than that, actually.
No, I agree. That's a great way to mic drop it, man. I agree 100%. So cool, man. I mean, I think challenges are, what could that be, man? I mean,
we'll just bring it back to the holidays. Be thankful, whether you love your parents, hate your parents, one way or another, your parents brought you into this world. They gave you what they could, whether it was the best or the worst, they gave you what they could. Yep. And you need to take that foundation and grow on it. Whether you're looking at that foundation and saying it's got some cracks and I need to patch these so I can build a stronger building, or you're saying, holy shit, this is the most solid foundation I could have ever had. Yeah. You got to at least be thankful for what you were given. Life, you can breathe, you're awake, you can grow, you can learn, and you need to keep doing that.
I agree. And I think the only thing I would add is the negative parts. And that's where I can speak to, is if there's negative stuff that you look at your parents like, well, they were this, they were so bad. Those things are still a good foundation because you built the person that you are based on the negative things or the things that you didn't want in your life. You built yourself into a better person because you had an example of what not to be like. So I know people be like, well, my parent was a piece of crap, or they weren't involved, or they were this. Just take it as they didn't happen, like they always say. It didn't happen to you, it happened for you, so that you could learn how to be a better person, a better role model to your friends and to your kids, because that's what you knew what not to do. So that'd be my only 2 cents on that.
No, 100%. That's the best. That's one of the best things you could add to that.
Cool, man. I appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you. Thanks, you guys.